What is going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and it is the 13th day of on-field workouts for your Miami Dolphins. Today's video, a practice dominated by the defense. And while there are some good takeaways from the offense that we will get to, the story of the day was the defense and the interceptions. But let's start off with today's roster moves. Adam Shaheen being placed on the Dolphins IR after being sent back to the Dolphins following his failed physical with the Houston Texans. The teams also released Cole Banwart. Likely good news regarding Michael Dieter's health, as Banwart was one of the only other true centers that was on the roster. Defensive lineman Jordan Williams was released. Wide receiver Devontae Dedmon was released. And cornerback Tino Ellis was released. But let's jump into some of the day's practice notes, because the orange jersey alert went to wide receiver Trent Sherfield, who really put it together back to back. Obviously, being deemed the team's top performer in the previous practice, caught 4 touchdowns in today's 11-on-11 periods. Touchdowns from all 3 quarterbacks, including Tua, including Teddy, including Skyler. But from there, it got a bit dicey for the quarterbacks, for the offense in general. They had some touchdowns. They had some big, nice completions that we're going to get to. But the quarterbacks threw 6 interceptions today. By far and away, the worst day of camp for the quarterbacks, for the offense in general. Let's just jump right into those interceptions right away. Hit the elephant in the room, because Noah Igbenogany, the one everyone loves to hate, I've been given some hate myself as well. We had to eat it a little bit today. Noah interception got an Noah interception. That'd be a great nickname if he could turn into that. But Noah Igbenogany got an interception off of Teddy Bridgewater in the end zone, returned it 100 yards for a touchdown. Another interception on the day was Nick Needham, who intercepted Tua Tagovailoa, and Brandon Jones, who had 2 interceptions off of Tua. So if you're doing the math on that, that is 3 interceptions for quarterback 1. And the other 2 cornerbacks that got interceptions today was Elijah Campbell and Quincy Wilson, who got interceptions off Skylar Thompson, which we will talk about in a little bit. And obviously the turnovers, that's something that you're going to have to get cleaned up. However, to be fair, some of these interceptions were thrown in scenarios that the coaching staff put the offense and defense in today's sessions. Basically, score or bust. This is it. You're not playing for punt. You're not playing for a kick. Score or bust. So some of these situations were a little bit different. So you have to keep situation in mind with these practice interceptions. Maybe also this ends up playing a little bit of a role as to whether or not Mike McDaniel plays Tua or plays the starters a little bit more in Saturday's next preseason action against the Raiders. Going to get to a little bit more of that at the end as well, because we heard from Mike McDaniel before practice today. But I do want to give some positive notes on the offensive side of the ball. Braylon Sanders, hearing his name again, caught a touchdown from Tua in the red zone. He also caught a touchdown from Teddy Bridgewater over Noah Igbenogany, so he was not no interception on that play. But Lynn Bowden, Ethan Carter also caught Teddy Bridgewater touchdowns in red zone work. And Mike Gesicki, we got some tight end action today, caught a red zone touchdown from Skylar Thompson. A few other passes of note that weren't necessarily touchdowns on the day. Tua had a pump fake one way to move the defenders and then hit River Craycraft in the gap that he created basically by doing the pump fake in between 2 defenders. So a nice completion for the day for River Craycraft. And Tua also hit Tyreek on a pass, giving Tyreek ample opportunities to create run after catch. The one running back of note today was once again Chase Edmonds, who seems to just kind of have that firm grasp on the RB1 duties. Obviously, we didn't see him last Saturday against the Bucs for good reason. If you know what you got, let's not risk too much more injury by any means after seeing what happened to Trill Williams there. But showing more of his decisiveness, some of that burst, some of that elusiveness with an early chunk yardage run. Another wide receiver to note today, Cedric Wilson brought in a sideline pass from Tua Tagovailoa. Sounds like Cedric Wilson also caught a red zone touchdown as well. Saw some reports of that. So the Dolphins today closed practice in a drill, kind of like one of those must-have-it drills. So it's a drill where you're at your own 20-yard line. You got 35 seconds left. You got to get a score. So when Tua was up, Tua went to Tyreek for 15, clocked the ball. Went to Sherfield for 15, clocked the ball. A throwaway after a quick pressure by Emmanuel Ogbah. And then they went for the field goal, a 62-yarder, which Jason Sanders, 62. I mean, come on. Hit it off the crossbar. So we almost hit it, but no score for Tua's drive there. Teddy's turn. Teddy hit Lynn Bowden for 15, although it does sound like that that play could have been called dead with a sack by Porter Gustin, who's just been by the quarterback all the time in training camp. So good news for him by any means. Clocked it after they gave Bowden the completion for 15. Hit Preston for 20 on a nice catch. Got to give Preston a little bit of love there once in a while. Clocked it again, a throwaway, and then Jason Sanders missed wide from 60. So another extremely long kick, nothing to really worry about there from Jason Sanders. So then it was Skylar Thompson's turn. This is where things got a little bit off the rail. We saw some good stuff from Skylar on Saturday against the Bucs. Not like he had like these crazy breakout moments, but he showed some poise, showed some accuracy, some decision making. Today's drill went a little bit haywire. Started interception. They moved the ball up to the 35 just to let the drive keep going. Took a sack by Ben Still, who's been performing pretty well in that like second, third team defense. So keep an eye on that name as well on the defensive line. And then he had another interception. So that ended that drive, and the defense won all three of these final second situations. A couple other miscellaneous notes before we get to coaches' media availability. Connor Williams started off practice with another high snap, and then I believe the other bad snap issue from the day was an under center bad exchange between him and Tua. We're going to just beat that to death, aren't we? We're still here. We're still here 13 days into on-field workouts, and we're still trying to figure out the center to quarterback snap exchange. I'm actually tired of talking about it, to be honest with you. Let's talk about something positive. Keon Crossan credited with another pass breakup on a pass to Tyreek Hill as well. So playing against the ones in that situation, a PBU against Tyreek, always good news there for the defense. And Darius Hodge, who's been coming on recently, he had the strip sack in the game against the Bucs back on Saturday, credited with another would-be sack today. And then Christian Wilkins, finally, credited with knocking down a pass at the line of scrimmage. Basically, this defense's calling card at this time. Between him and Ogbah and Raekwon and Sealer, all those guys, when they're not getting to the quarterback, they have been taught perfectly, get those hands up, get in those passing lanes and disrupt it. And that saves so many plays for this team. So I'm looking forward to that trend continuing as well. One last thing before we get to Mike McDaniel's media availability. Medically, Alec Ingold shook the red no contact jersey. So that's great news for him being a full participant again. Jaylen Waddle was present at practice, but not practicing. He was seen after practice working with the jugs machine. So hopefully nothing too major to report there. But Mike McDaniel's media availability, a couple of things I want to dive into there. He would not give a yes or no prior to practice regarding Tua, his availability for Saturday, but said that some that didn't play on Saturday versus the Bucs will play Saturday versus the Raiders. And you almost got to wonder, depending how the next couple of days of practice go leading up to that, is he going to end up trying to throw Tua and that first team offense in for some more reps of in-game action? Because obviously no one's going to be happy about a 6 interception performance day, even if it is the day where you're trying things in must-score situations. You got to clean that up, and you're going to have to clean that up before those first 4 weeks of the season. What is it? It's like New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Cincinnati. I don't remember the exact order. But that's a grueling stretch that you got to get some stuff ironed out for before you get to that point. And one last thing of note today, also discussed the recent signing of Mackenzie Alexander, and not really necessarily pigeonholing him into just playing the slot cornerback, but maybe being able to move him outside as well. But it also sounds like Nick Needham could potentially move to the boundary corner in the event Byron Jones isn't necessarily ready for the start of the season, which in that case, you got X on one boundary, you got Needham on the other boundary, and then that signing of Mackenzie Alexander to man that nickel spot makes a little bit more sense. So I don't want to assume anything regarding Byron Jones. It doesn't sound like there were any setbacks. It just doesn't sound quite as confident as it did 13 practices ago. And it's like, okay, well, Byron Jones is on the PUP, but don't worry, he'll be ready for week 1. We'll have to see how that plays out, but it almost seems like there's a little bit of a contingency plan now with that signing and with the idea of moving Noah Igbenogany, or not Noah, but Nick Needham into a different position if need be. But that's what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. We take the good with the bad. And hey, a bad day by the offense means the defense was doing their job as well. So let's give some credit where the credit is due. That's what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. Until next time, fins up.